I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sure can. Like just a moment of silence in honor of Charlie Wachowski, former highway superintendent.
No.
Bill, Don,
Here.
Betty, Hank, and Chris.
Here.
Present.
Okay, highway superintendent.
All right, keep it short and sweet. Since last month, well, most of the month of March was snowy and windy, as everybody knows. One of the snowiest in history. We continue to do maintenance and repair work on the equipment. We have opened the seasonal roads. I got a letter from the Board of Elections asking me to use the highway garage for elections again this year. They got a memorandum of understanding that I'm supposed to sign and send back to them stating that we know to keep the doors open and stuff like that. There's potentially 3 elections this year: June 26th for a federal primary, September 13th for a primary if needed. I think that goes by each district. And then the general election is November 6th. So I just want to let the board know that I will be signing that letter and sending it back to the Board of Elections to allow me to use the highway garage for voting. The 2008 GMC pickup truck sold for $14,000. A town resident bought it. They paid my mother, and as soon as they paid her, they come up and picked it up and drove it home. So that has been since taken off our insurance policy. So we got the $14,000 we were looking to get. That's good news. I do have some bad news. The 2000 Chevy that we're looking to sell, we realized Monday morning that it had a fuel leak. So in the process of checking to see where the fuel leak was, we realized the truck has a broken frame in 2 spots. So we parked the truck, we're not gonna drive it. So what's the board's pleasure on getting rid of it? It's obviously probably not gonna bring the $13,000 now that we were looking to get for it.
Where is the frame broken?
Both sides up by the front wheels.
Could be sold for parts.
Oh yeah, that's what you'd have to sell it for. You have to sell it with the
As
fact
is.
knowing that it's got a broken frame.
My personal opinion is we should still advertise it for sale, try to sell it ourselves, and make it prominent that it has a broken frame.
Right.
There's a lot in that truck yet that's worth quite a bit.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Um, Depending on how it's broke, I've seen them welded very successfully, so there's liable to be some people show up that will pay
Right.
decent for it.
So, since we're probably not gonna use it, weld it and use it, I would suggest we list it for sale, have it end right before next month's board meeting. And then I can bring the number to the board and you guys can make a decision on it at the next month's board meeting. You know, if it, I have no idea what it's gonna bring. No idea now.
Artie, what are we gonna do for a truck in the interim, because that's one of the.
Cross your fingers it don't snow.
Well, the rate it's been going, I
Well,
mean,
if it snows, we use my crew cab pickup to plow, but it just doesn't have a sander onto it. So
Okay.
then the pickup that plows the other village has to run down to the second village and salt it afterwards.
okay,
So
so we
that's-
got a plan, is what
Oh,
you're
yeah,
saying.
that's
Okay.
that's why there's a plow on the crew cab pickup
On the
truck.
crew cab,
That's the
okay.
backup.
It's the right time of year if it did have to happen, so.
Oh, yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Do you think we hit something, or you think it just?
No, it's just fatigue. I mean, the truck's 11 years old. You know, original plan when we bought them trucks was to keep them 5 years. When the warranty runs up, get rid of them, but it's been here a lot longer than 5 years. So it's done its time. It's been a good truck. The new one, I called them the other day and said, what's going on? We could really use it. And as far as I was told, is the body's being built right now. Truck's all ready to go, except for having the box set on it, welded on, and lights hooked up. So the plow's all on it, the hitch is on it, everything's almost ready to come back to us.
I'm new around here. I never like to pay for things before I get them. We paid for that truck.
Yeah, that was,
Did we make a mistake?
not really, but kind of maybe. We shouldn't have. The problem is the dealer didn't specify to us that it had to be paid for within 30 days. And not knowing how long the body guy was gonna take to build the truck, it ended up that we paid for it before we actually got it.
For future reference, not in the too distant future either, we could pay for a cab and chassis and then pay for a body later.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but with the piggyback, I don't know if that's possible because everything the whole deal is paid through the dealership. The body portion of it, that didn't get billed to us, that got billed to the dealer. Same thing with the cab and chassis, even though it's a piggyback bid, when we pay for the new plow truck, all that money goes to Tracy Road Equipment. We don't cut 2 checks for that.
There was 2 distinct deals there.
Right, but
I don't see any reason why we can't write 2 checks, especially if we put them on notice now. Right? Send them a letter and say,
But going forward with the big truck that's coming, they know we're not paying for it until it's done and in our shop.
okay,
They know.
all right. Okay.
But generally, that's the way it's always been. And when they brought the bill for the new pickup truck, he said, we gotta get paid for that within 30 days. And I'm like, I'm not real comfortable doing that. And I guess it was my call to pay for it before we got it.
Well, next deal is the next deal.
Well, it happened again.
Okay.
Well, that was the bad news, but I do have some good news. And Bill, I'm gonna fill you in right from the start, because I don't think you know anything about this. Last March, 2017, we had a major snowfall. The federal government declared it a disaster, and since last March, we've been working on trying to get funds from the government, FEMA money for it. I finally got word a couple days ago, they are gonna pay for it. There was a lot of stipulations because we're under contract to plow the county roads. Who was gonna get that money? Well, the federal government decided that nobody's getting money for the county roads that were plowed. But they are gonna reimburse us for our time plowing the town roads. So the number that we come up with for labor, materials, equipment, ended up being, for the town to plow the town roads for them 2 days, ended up being $13,661.69. Of that, the federal government will reimburse us 75%. So we are expecting to get a check of $10,246.27. 10,246.27. There's a little bit more paperwork's gotta be done before we see the money, but I signed off on it the other day. I was happy with the numbers they come up with. They're in line with what I had, so they're about done with everybody in Montgomery County.
Wonderful.
So that's a good thing.
Comes the short on the truck.
You know, and it's funny that the guy called the same day to have me check that paperwork out as the day we found out the frame was broken on the pickup, and I'm like, funny how stuff like that happens.
Well, you and Sean are working on these trip tickets. Trucks, when they leave, how much they expend in money for each round. Won't that help you in the future in putting this kind of stuff together? How do you feel about these, a driver when he hops in the truck every day, fill out a piece of paper?
As far as keeping track of what?
Well, town of Florida,
No, Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
Oh, yeah, I know,
excuse me.
Bart's got quite a
Yeah.
process.
I got The only thing I gotta get is numbers on, cause he don't have a normal little six-wheelers like we got, so I have to come up with numbers for them. But with the way the FEMA's got it broke down, I was on their website the other day, we gotta measure the nose plow, measure the wing, and, cause all they list the nose plow at one price, the wing at another price, and obviously the 4x2 truck is another price. So we just gotta come up with that price.
For what?
That-
We're all, we don't need to do that.
I didn't, do you have one of them sheets with you?
I do, but I didn't
Okay.
plan on getting into that tonight. We can if you want, but I figured a rather short meeting for tonight. And,
Okay.
next month is quite a few things that
Okay,
we can get into.
we can do that then.
Oh, you mean for future down the road, or you're not
Yeah.
talking about for the one that's already gone by?
No, future down the road.
Oh, okay.
Down the road.
All right.
It looks to me like the state, the federal government is more in tune to grants all the time and poking their nose in our business. And these trip sheets for these trucks, they're the major expense for this town, the trucks. The more we can identify a per hour cost, even in man hours, sand they're hauling out, and everything about them, fuel, the easier your job is gonna be, and the more likely we are to get more funding.
Oh, yeah, the rates that we go by when we figure this kind of stuff, if I could rent stuff at them rates, I'd love to rent stuff at those
Yeah,
rates.
you ain't kidding.
Because the numbers they provide you with to use are pretty low.
Well, if we got our own numbers, we can have some discussion.
Right. Oh, I see what you're saying, for future reference, yep.
Making truck drivers into bookkeepers is not always an easy task.
Yeah.
But a trip sheet every day seems to me like not too burdensome.
No,
And the one that you showed me didn't seem to have all the information on that I thought.
No, we
Was where
can
we
build,
wanted to go.
we can build off of that.
That's,
It gives us something to build off of.
that's what I'm talking.
Are these NCR forms, that type of thing?
No, it's, I wish I had a problem with me, but I left it in my other folder. I'll get one to each one of the board members. It's basically just a rough draft of what he does with the equipment he's got, what it costs per yard of sand, the cost per loader using it, the cost per the truck. They even got so much as a benefit package for the driver.
Does it have like initial mileage and then?
Yep,
stop
starting mileage, ending mileage, gallons
That's
of
where
fuel
you
used.
betcha.
Yeah,
Yep.
I remember those,
Yeah.
Yep, it's got all that stuff on it.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking down the road, what I would like to see is just a plain sheet of paper in front of the driver, and either have them hand the sheets in, or somebody input the information into a computer, and we can get accurate budget numbers too. So, there's a lot of uses for that type of material that will do nothing but fine tune this outfit.
Yep.
I guess I interrupted your report.
Well,
I'm-
that's all I
anything
got.
else?
No, just, if you guys wanna, list that a 1-ton dump as is, and we'll have an end right before next month's board meeting, we'll bring a number to the board meeting next month.
Should we put it on Auctions International?
That's what we were gonna do,
But also put a for sale sign out front too.
yeah, but you can't put it for sale out front if we're gonna sell it on the internet, because you don't know what it's gonna bring on the internet.
Yeah, we can do that. Then wait till night if we don't.
And if it only brings $3,000 on the internet, you can decide, well, we don't want that, we'll set it out front with a for sale sign.
Yeah. Either way, it's in.
Yeah.
Plus, we got the benefit on our Auctions International, we can put exactly, it says that it's got a frame damage.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll have to sign off on it, I mean, it's clear as, it's better liability for us if we have it there.
And you're gonna get more exposure with it on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if we advertise it now, we can put it on there for almost a month. Be on there for a month. And you put it on for a week or two, you get twice as much chance for somebody to see it if it's on there for a month.
When it leaves the barn, I want some kind of a hold harmless for frame. I would even involve the attorney on that, because that can get pretty dicey.
Then we'll have the attorney draw up something that says that the
Just
buyer
draw
sign,
up
the
a-
buyer
a-
sign it, and saying he knows the frame is broken.
Yep.
He's taking it as is and holding it down.
Yep.
Not liable in any such matter, so. Have the attorney make one out and we'll have it
Well-
ready for when the buyer buys it.
I'll call the attorney. Okay, that it?
That's all I got.
Dog control officer.
It was a quiet month last month. I issued 16 10-day notices for non-renewal of license. I'm working on 2 rabies cases that are open right now. They won't be closed until after the April 14th clinic when they can get the dogs vaccinated. And when I got out of work today, I had gotten a call from one of the state troopers that they're starting an investigation of possible abuse and neglect at a residence up on Groff Road, so I don't know where that's gonna go.
Have you been in contact with the judge and the
No,
attorney?
he was on his trip, and then when I brought my voucher down, I saw the note on the door that said he was sick,
Okay.
so I'm figuring it hasn't really gone anywhere this month. I'm hoping for next month.
The assessor. Okay. Has everybody read the assessor's report?
Yeah.
Should we be making a motion to accept each one of these reports, or are we adequate with what you have in
We
yours?
never have
Okay,
accepted any. cases.
well, okay,
But that doesn't mean we don't have to,
well,
whatever, however you want to do it.
okay. Code enforcement officer,
He's not here tonight.
okay, no report there. Town clerk,
The taxes will be done this week. I will be here tomorrow and Friday. I have prior commitment for Saturday, so I can't be here Saturday. The last day to accept the taxes, but they have a drop box if they want them outside. There, they can drop it. And I will be taking the taxes down to the county probably Friday of next week, if not Monday the following week. So we're winding down on the taxes.
planning board. No report tonight? I didn't see one. Was there one up there? Okay. Supervisor's budget report. I passed out the figures again. There's really not much need of getting into them. Next month, Mr. Beckett or a representative from his office will be here. We will be supplied with budget information. We will be supplied with an investment policy and some questions to some other items in the budget where there were motions made to set up accounts and the accounts were never set up. Okay, old business.
You asked for, it's listed here as ethics board report.
You're out of order. There will be no public speaking until the time
Okay.
comes.
I'd like to make,
Okay, go ahead. You want to speak? Go
no,
right
no,
to it.
this has nothing to do with ethics. I wanted to make this a point. The other day, I was in the town hall and I noticed our flag is in terrible shape. So I want to purchase a new flag, I'd like to approach and give it to the board. Can I do that?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I thank you very much. We'll hang it up there. Appreciate it. Okay, I also want to hit on the banking and the website. The banking has been a real struggle to try to get things so that we can invest the town's excess funds. When I first started out, NBT said they could not or would not buy T-bills for me, and we could not do anything with a security agreement with Mellon Bank. It was cast in stone. And as you well recall, I pointed out that agreement was signed in 1997. This town came up with a new investment policy in 1999. And that was not a part of it. It never saw the light of day. All right, it's now seen the light of day. I transferred some money this month to another bank. NBT had to be watching that account like an old hound dog. Mrs. Dunn got a call right away, and NBT now is setting up a correspondent agreement with another bank, and they have agreed to buy T-bills for us. All right, so they came with a contract. I have told them there are none of them. I don't want to talk to any of these banks. They have to go through the lawyer. All right, by law in New York State, this board cannot do business with any bank that doesn't have bricks and mortar in New York State. All right, I go a little further than that. What my criteria is, we have to have an agreement that is based in New York State law. I don't want to do business under Ohio law. I don't want to do business under Massachusetts law. And I don't want to do business subject to an arbitration clause. Now, Key Bank is a similar situation. All right, we have to go to another state. Their facility to buy T-bills is in another state. So we're looking at those agreements. Mrs. Dunn is coming along very well, and it looks to me like between this board meeting and the next one, we will be able to buy some T-bills. However, I'm not sure, and I don't want a written opinion that costs money from an attorney, whether we can invest money without an investment policy. Town boards in New York State are charged with adopting a new investment policy every year. Our last one on record is 1999. So, putting together this mess so far has been a little complicated and a little testy. Also, these banking agreements, if we're doing business in cyberspace, we transfer money from one bank to the other bank. The first bank lets go of the money, it hits cyberspace, and they're no longer responsible for it. And the bank receiving the money isn't responsible for it until they have officially taken it. So we're working on those details, and as I brought up at the last board meeting, we are able to buy cybersecurity through our insurance, through the bond portion of the insurance that the town has. I brought that up at the last meeting. You approved buying it. I just put it in place yesterday in anticipation of perhaps buying some T-bills this month. I'm going to step out, and we now have two facilities that if their contracts come up to our specifications, we have two outlets that will buy T-bills for us. However, they're kind of guarded on their fees. And having dealt in that area before, I know I can't charge Mrs. Dunn with figuring out how much each institution is charging us until we actually see a transaction. Sometimes they will clip a point a 1/100th of a point, 1/10 of a point on the interest rate. Sometimes they'll pony right up and send you a bill. And she asked and didn't get any good definitive answers. So I might buy a couple of T-bills between now and the next meeting. But I will not do any heavy investing and a lot of transferring money, just to see that we can do it and what it's going to cost. Kind of a test run. When Mr. Beckett shows up, it'll be crystal clear what we're doing and the benefits to the town. I was looking at roughly 18 to 20,000 a year in interest. It's more than that. Interest rates are going up. And as they go up, our fees will stay the same and our interest income will be larger. It will work to our advantage. I'm pretty sure by the next meeting, I will be able to put things on the table, and the accountant that we have hired will come with some decent numbers for us to look at. However, tied up in our investment policy also is the $500,000 capital account that this board approved before I got here. The board approved it, and bookkeeping never reacted. It was never taken to bookkeeping. And I'm not sure what it takes. I can invest up to $500,000 of our $1 million in surplus and not run into that. So I'm not too concerned about it. I don't have to have the answer right away. But Mr. Beckett, I charged him with telling me what I should do. Now, if we follow the wording and we follow the law, we have to go to public referendum to do away with that. Or there's another section in the law that says once the purpose for which the capital account is created is gone, you no longer are required to carry the capital account. So does that mean I can just pass a resolution and say we don't need that anymore? I don't know. So rather than be criticized, I told him to give me a written opinion. I'm new around here. Let these guys tell me what's right. So hopefully we'll see that at the next meeting.